What's going on, you guys? Here I'm going to be using the pricking iron. This is going to be a reverse pricking iron video, and this is strictly just for the reverse pricking iron. Right here I'm going to be using the front side, which I'm using the normal pricking iron. These are Kevin Lee pricking irons. They're great quality, really love them. I've been using them for a while now, and I've been getting great results. So on the front pocket, I already marked that. I'm making a standard card wallet, and I'm just punching through on one of the front side pieces. Now here's the back side. This is where I'm going to use the reverse pricking iron. I've already marked all my edges. I know where I'm going, and I want to avoid the crisscross. What the crisscross is when you use one pricking iron and you do both sides. When you sandwich them together, you get this crisscross, like a cross. And it's the norm, it's a standard, but I found that I always snag my thread going through the other side, and it became such a problem for me. I mean, sometimes I would breeze through a wallet and no problem, but every now and then I would get snag after snag after snag, and I just got kind of tired of it. So I was curious about doing this method. I did a lot of research online, and I couldn't find anyone using or making videos about using a pricking iron or about using a reverse pricking iron for this application. It didn't exist. I didn't really find anything, so that's why I'm making this video. Here I am finishing the reverse side with the reverse pricking iron. Now, I punched all the way through, and I punched all the way through on the front side with the other pricking iron. Now I'm going to sandwich them together, and I'm just going to go through the motions of gluing everything. I used Tokalan on the inside of the wallet just because I wanted to give the wallet a little bit more color and highlight that beautiful Shinki shell cordovan stamp. And I did my own brand stamp on the other side. So you have to do a rough out. I always stress this point whenever I'm working with people or working with new people. I always let them know, rough out, glue, make sure that your leather is well sealed. The worst thing that can happen sometimes is when you get to the end of your project and you're sanding and then you're burnishing, you notice some separation, and that feels awful because you really can't fix that. You can try and fix it, but it just takes a long time, and it's really difficult to do, especially when you're at that stage. So you have to fan out your glue, make sure you cover all the surfaces at the edge. You don't want to use too much, and just put them together. So I have cutting dies for this, and I made my cutting dies about 1/8 of an inch oversize. And the reason I do that is because I like to either slice or sand off my edges to get them really nice and smooth. It was a thing I purposely did because I know how I work. So, like I always tell people, if you find something that works for you, use it, perfect it, get better, perfect it. There's no really wrong way of doing it as long as you get really good results and you learn how to manage your time. So I'm just rolling over it now, and I want to make sure that my adhesive is working for me. And you can never be too careful there. Okay, now I'm going to stitch my project. And what I'm trying to tell you here is that the reason I use this is you notice how smooth the needle just goes in. Instead of being there with an awl, constantly just with an awl in one hand and a needle in the other hand, and making sure that needle can go in really smooth. In this case, the needle is just kind of like gliding right through it, and I don't really have, I've reduced any margin of error with snagging. So what I mean by snagging is when you put the needle in through one side and you want to go through the other side, sometimes you snag that, you catch that that thread with the needle, and then you end up going through the thread, and then it's just a nightmare. It's happened to me many times. I can't count how many times that's happened to me, especially like I'm in the middle of the project and then I really massacre that thread. The thread just gets totally destroyed and I have to start over, and it just crushes you inside when you have to start over, especially when you feel like you're on a roll. And using this method for me, it's been a lot better. So I was just curious about that. Like I said before, I try to do a lot of research on, I know what pricking irons are supposed to be used for, but I decided to get a little creative and see, maybe this can work for me. Maybe I can reduce the amount of snags, especially if you're kind of doing a little bit more volume. If you're doing a little bit more volume, that's going to really hinder your progress, and it's going to hinder your level of production. So those are a lot of good reasons why I decided to start doing or using this method. So, like I always said, if you find something that works for you well, if you're doing the traditional style, go ahead and do it. I just want to get nice stitches on both sides, and I want to save myself a little time. And this does save me a lot of time. All right. So this is a Shinky Shell Cordovan whiskey, and really proud with the results. The stitching looks as beautiful on the front side as it does on the back side. I used to punch all the way straight through and then just glue everything together and punch through, and that would give me awkward angles and all of that stuff, so the margin of error was much higher. Here is a Ricardo Shell Cordovan Burgundy. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I just wanted to clear up a few things and be transparent about my use of the reverse pricking iron. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to comment. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. You can find us on Instagram at Staggerly Goods